Saying that this year has been a crazy one so far in the NBA is an absolute understatement. Normally, at this point in the season, teams have solidified themselves as a legit playoff team and contending team, and the rest of the teams, well, they're just trying to get a high draft pick and get back at it next year. But this year, well, this year is very different. Because at the time I'm making this video, the standings in both the Eastern and Western Conference are so close that one small losing or win streak for any team could move them up or down the ladder so much, it's absolutely mind-blowing. Despite how close the league is this year, there have always been teams that are under the radar even though they have a legitimate chance at making a deep playoffs or even championship run. This year though, there are so many teams that are underrated and have a legit chance at making a championship push, and today we will be discussing the top 3 most underrated teams as we speak in the NBA, diving into why they are so good and what exactly they need to fix to prove everyone wrong in the playoffs this year. As always though, if you've been enjoying the content lately, it would be absolutely clutch if you subscribed if you're new and join the Woods crew, because let me just say we have some big things in the works with almost daily uploads, and you will not want to miss out on any of the videos. Also, if you end up enjoying this video, leaving a like down below would be greatly appreciated as well, because it helps the channel grow in a big way. But with all that being said, let's just get into the first team I believe is one of the most underrated in the league this year, that team being the Denver Nuggets. Now, I know that the Nuggets aren't exactly underrated like the other 2 teams I'll be discussing in this video, but I believe that people are straight up disregarding the fact that this team has an insanely high chance of making it all the way to the NBA Finals, and they will cause trouble for any and every team they face on the way. Now, I know that not many people talk about the fact that we could see the Nuggets in the finals this year, so let's just take a deep dive into exactly why I believe this team could take it all the way and shock everyone who has not been paying attention to them this year. Although there are many reasons why I believe this Nuggets team is criminally underrated, I believe that they could legitimately win it all this year because of the fact that Nikola Jokic is not only playing out of his mind since the season started, but this man is literally a frontrunner for the MVP as we speak because he's been playing at such a high level. If you haven't been watching the Joker in this Nuggets team in general so far this year, let me just say that you are 100% missing out, because Jokic is playing like a point center playmaking for his talented Denver roster like we have never seen before, and my man is making a case for the best center in the entire league in the process, and the stats don't lie. So far this season, Nikola Jokic is averaging 26.3 points, 8.6 assists, and 11 rebounds a game. You're telling me that the Denver Nuggets have a man averaging damn near a triple-double and they're still underrated? Yeah, that's pretty messed up. Not only is the Joker stuffing the stat sheet night in and night out, but he's been doing it at such an efficient rate, he's making everyone saying he isn't MVP worthy look like a fool. At the time I'm making this video, Jokic is shooting at insane rates, shooting 56.6% from the field, 42.7% from beyond the arc, and 86.3% from the free throw line. Yeah, Nikola Jokic could very well average a triple-double by the end of the season and be in the 50-40-90 club, and he's a center. Enough gassing up the Joker though, because even though star power is the key to winning at the highest level, the Nuggets also have one of the best depth in the league, which is what I believe makes them truly underrated. Over the years, it has been clear that the Denver Nuggets have been elite when it comes to drafting, scouting, and developing their talent. Because as a small market team like Denver, it is absolutely necessary that you make the most of all your picks and trades, because that is the only way you're going to get legit talent. With that being said though, the Nuggets have so much talent on their roster, it's hard to see this team falling to someone like the Lakers, especially if they aren't at full strength. I mean, this team not only has an MVP in Jokic, but also someone in Jamal Murray who can turn up in the playoffs and become one of the best players on the court as well. Not to mention all the young talent they have in MPJ, Bol, and even players like Campazzo who will have a huge impact for this team down the stretch. The Nuggets also made a huge move for Aaron Gordon, who should be able to fill the void of Jeremy Grant and truly complete this team lineup, which will allow them to win it all this year. Despite everything I just mentioned with the Nuggets though, I believe there is one thing that will have to happen if they want to make a big win in the playoffs and make it all the way to the finals. That thing being Jamal Murray activating bubble mode and dominating on the offensive side of the ball. I already said that you need star power to get wins, and I just can't see the Nuggets being able to overpower teams with stars if Murray isn't playing like the star he was last year in the playoffs. But if he's capable of getting to that level again in the playoffs, I believe he would be a weapon that would give the Nuggets a huge advantage, because none of the LA teams who are contenders in my eyes have a star guard, so this could be a larger impact than most people think in my eyes. I believe that the Denver Nuggets weren't necessarily being overlooked by basketball analysis, but overall by the common fans. But for the next 2 teams, I believe they are not only being overlooked by fans and analysts, but are just as capable of winning the 2021 NBA Finals if a few things go their way, and one of those teams is the Phoenix Suns. It's no secret that this Suns team shocked everyone last year after going undefeated in the bubble and making it known that their team was legit. And after one of the best off seasons out of anyone looking back with the additions of CP3 and Jay Crowder, the Suns came into this season with a chip on their shoulder, and at the time I'm making this video are the 2 seed in the West. Yeah, they're above teams like the Nuggets and both teams of LA. Now I know that people are giving the Suns credit for being good, but I feel like a lot of people are ignoring the fact that this team really has a legitimate chance of making a deep playoff push or even winning it all this year. I mean, this team has everything a championship caliber team needs: a bona fide star in Devin Booker, who has been one of the best scorers in the league this year, a playmaking veteran guard in Chris Paul, who literally can will the Suns team to wins, and yet another team that has one of the deepest rosters in the league, filled with young talent that can shoot the ball well and play some decent defense as well. But there is one thing that could hold this team back in my eyes, and that is a lack of experience in the playoffs. Do I think that this will somewhat have an effect on this Suns team? Definitely, but in my eyes, the fact that people are counting the Suns out of contention just because they are young is just disrespectful. I mean, look at a team in the East that made it all the way to the finals last year in the Heat. This Heat team was full of young and experienced players like Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Bam Adebayo, and Kendrick Nunn, but that didn't stop them from making the finals under the leadership of Jimmy Butler. I believe that the Suns are in a very similar situation to the Heat and could very well make a deep playoffs or championship run led by Chris Paul, just like the Heat did with Jimmy Butler last year. But the biggest thing I believe needs to happen in order for the Suns to make a solid run this year is their big man DeAndre Ayton stepping up when it counts. So far, at the highest level, DeAndre Ayton has been somewhat disappointing, but this year, he needs to change that. It's no secret that the Western Conference is stacked with big men like AD, Jokic, and even guys like Porzingis or Rudy Gobert. And if Ayton gets in foul trouble like he usually does in these big matchups, it will be very hard for the Suns team to win in the playoffs, to say the least. But if Ayton can step up and produce on both sides of the ball, I believe this would elevate the Suns to a level that we didn't think was possible. Let me just say that people are sleeping on this Suns team in a big way, because if you haven't been watching, this Suns backcourt has been balling and are one of the most underrated teams in the league by far this year, despite being the 2 seed in the West. But what if I told you that there was a team even more underrated than the Suns and Nuggets in the Western Conference? A team that up until recently had a near perfect record and is one of the deepest rosters in the league. A team that people have gone as far as saying the NBA doesn't want to win because they are so underrated and in a small market. If you didn't guess by now, I'm talking about the Utah Jazz, and they have been yet another team that has blown past everyone's expectations, yet they have also been criminally underrated, especially as of lately. Now, even though I've said that all of the underrated teams in this video have a deep roster, it's true for the Jazz as well, and it's one of the biggest reasons why I believe they can make some noise in the playoffs this season. This Jazz squad has assembled a team that is capable of scoring at all levels on the floor and be great on defense. Even though some of the other teams I've mentioned have had quite a few notable names coming off the bench for them, the Jazz team has Jordan Clarkson, who in itself is making a strong case for the 6th man of the year. But not only does this Jazz team have a good roster, but if you've been paying attention to the NBA at all, you should know that they are the #1 seed in the West and are pretty far ahead of everyone besides the Suns. In my eyes, being the 1 seed could give this Jazz team a huge advantage come playoffs time, because they will have to play somewhat easy matchups against lower seeds in the earlier rounds, which will serve as somewhat of a warm-up if they are as good as they've been showing. In my eyes, even though this Jazz team is underrated, I believe there is one big thing that has the potential to either take them to the promised land or yet another early playoffs exit. That thing being the level of talent in Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. Now, are these guys great players? Yes, and underrated as well, but at the moment, I'm just not sure if these two guys will have what it takes to will the Jazz to the finals. What they need to do is step up to a superstar level during the playoffs and prove everyone wrong, but if they can't, I can't help but feel that Jazz fans will be disappointed in a few months yet again. All in all, this year has been very exciting for many teams, and I know I only mentioned teams in the West today, so if you want to see part 2, make sure to like this video and get it to a quick 100 likes, so I know you guys want to see another video with teams in the East. And don't worry, I have individual videos coming soon breaking down the Blazers, Mavs, and more, so if you're new, I would highly recommend subscribing and joining the Woods crew so you don't miss any of those videos coming out soon. To say the least, the championship this year will definitely be up for grabs, especially if a super team goes down, but I guess all we can do is wait and see how the playoffs picture unfolds. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to like and subscribe, because we are out here posting a banger video every other day and more. But regardless, I really appreciate all you guys still watching. Catch you all on the next one. Woods out.